Hey book nerds, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to my channel. This is Book Talk, where we talk about books and whatever else comes to mind. I am so happy to be back. This month has been full of travel, which has been amazing and I have loved it. But it is really hard to get back into the routine of things when you are constantly on the move and traveling. And so it's nice to be back, at least for a bit of a stretch of time, so that I can actually sit down and record a video for you guys before I have to go again. So my husband and I took a 30th wedding anniversary trip to the Florida Keys at the beginning of this month, and it was amazing and wonderful. I would highly recommend going to the Florida Keys if you have a chance. It was the trip of a lifetime. We had a wonderful time. And then we got home from Florida, and a couple of days later, I went to Las Vegas. I was there for the Wild and Windy Las Vegas Book Convention, which was amazing, and I will be doing another video showing you guys the special edition books that I got. All of them are not here yet. There were some authors that I did pre-orders from that were not able to come, and so they're being shipped to me. And so when I get all of my books, I will make sure that I show you guys my haul and what I got at the book convention. It was great. And then I came back, and I just got back from that a couple of days ago. And then next week I get to go up to Salt Lake for work. And so it has just been a month of travel. And while I enjoy it for the most part, it does make it hard. It does make it hard. So I am happy to be able to sit here at least for right now and do a video for you guys, a book talk video today. I know it's almost the end of October, but we are going to sit down and do just a really quick review of my September reads, even though in like less than 2 weeks, we're going to be sitting down and doing my October reads. But I wanted to let you know what I read in September and what I thought, and if I think that it is worth it to you to go and pick it up and read for yourself. So let's get into it. The first book I have is Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. I was so excited to pick this up, you guys. This book has been on my TBR list for well over a year, and so I finally picked it up last month. I read it and I loved it. So this book has a little bit of the witchy vibes. So it's not necessarily a book about witchcraft per se, but I love this book because it's more about kind of finding yourself, finding your place, coming into your power, I guess, and really finding out your potential and who you can be, and the best version of yourself that you can be. And I love this book because this woman, I guess, you know, she doesn't think she needs anybody. She doesn't have any friends. She is very solitary. She's very independent, and she likes it that way. And she thinks that she works best and is her best self when she is alone. And so that is kind of the attitude that she goes into every situation with. And so when she flees the main island after the rebellion with, you know, these spell books that she has tried to save, and she goes back to her childhood home on this really small island, that's still kind of her attitude. Her attitude is that, you know, I may be a fugitive. You know, I've basically taken these spell books, so I'm on the run, you know, from. She doesn't know whether or not the government has toppled and the rebels have taken over. She doesn't know whether or not the government has prevailed. And so she doesn't know if she's fleeing from this government or if have the rebels won. And so it's very up in the air. And so her only thought is that I can't let anybody know who I am. I can't let anybody see my boat. I can't let anybody see. She goes to her childhood home, and her home that she grew up in is actually still there. It's abandoned, obviously, and I mean, it's overgrown and you know, it's dilapidated, but, you know, she is of the mind that she can, you know, she can make a home and a refuge out of her childhood home, but she's going to do it all on her own. She doesn't want any help. She's going to learn how to be a handyman. She's going to learn how to cook. She's going to learn how to survive all by herself. And it's just this story of this growth that she goes through from this mindset that she has of being completely and totally independent, and she is not going to let anybody in to help her, to, as we go through this book, she all of a sudden has this whole community behind her, and you know, everybody is helping, literally, whether she wants their help or not in some instances. And they all come together as this small little community to help their own. And she becomes, you know, enmeshed in their family unit, in their community unit, and how she becomes a better version of herself, a better person, because she has become part of this community. And she begins to see that, you know, putting herself out there and helping others, and the friendships that she has, and being a good friend and serving other people, and it's just this wonderful kind of story of growth, and this wonderful story of friendship and community. And I absolutely loved it. There's a little bit of romance in there, and I loved this book. It was sweet. It had a bit of a mystery in it. Like I said, a little bit of romance, and it was such a feel-good, cute, very well written, very good book for the start of the autumnal season. So the Spellshop, highly recommend. It is definitely a great book, and it is worth your time to pick it up and to read it. The next book is Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. So this is the newest release by Jamin Eve. I love Jamin Eve. She is one of my favorite authors. I think I've read almost everything that she puts out. She romantasy genre. She writes a lot of kind of the fantasy. This particular book, Spellcaster, is very witchy, which is why I picked it up for September. It's got those witchy vibes. This is about a girl who is part of a family of magic users, and her father is a professor at a very well-known, very prestigious college for magic users. All of her siblings go to this college, and she has been accepted herself. And so this is about her starting college, going to this this magic user school. And of course, she's starting out brand new, a freshman, I guess, as you would say, brand new student at the school, and a whole bunch of mysterious things start to occur. There's some accidental deaths of some students, but are they accidental? Were they supposed to be her? Is it him coming after her and he's, you know, covering his tracks? Or anyway, so this story is kind of this this really big mystery. You know, what's going on at this school? You know, is she in danger? Is he trying to kill her, or is he protecting her, and why? You know, and she's trying to kind of, she wants to stay at the school really badly. She wants to learn and understand her magic because she still doesn't know what magic she has. None of the elements are working for her. And so she still doesn't know what type of magic she has. And so she's desperate to try and figure out, you know, where she fits in this whole magic user world that she's a part of. And so she's kind of behind the scenes being her own little investigator, trying to figure out what's going on, who's killing these students. You know, is he trying to kill me? Why is he protecting me? He did save my life, or did he really? Or, you know, anyway, so it's this back and forth, and we see, you know, kind of little hints of romance. Maybe it's very enemies to lovers. This book does end on a cliffhanger. So we do know that more books are coming in this series. This is the first book. I did enjoy it. It was very well written, very much a Jamin Eve book, very romantic-y. She builds this world of magic using. She builds these characters, and you kind of get immersed into it, and until, you know, at the end you're desperate to find out what happens next because you're invested. And so I enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it, and I think it's worth you picking up. Psychic in Suburbia. This is by Casey Freeman. So I actually got this as an ARC. This had more of the supernatural vibes, which is why I included it in this. I did read the ARC in September, but I did include it in my September reads because it was definitely a good book to put into those autumnal witchy vibe kind of reads. So this is about a woman. She is a psychic medium. She can see and talk to ghosts. However, a very, you know, traumatic event happened when she was a child. Stopped looking at and stopped talking to ghosts because of what happened in her childhood. She didn't want people to think she was crazy. She didn't want to end up in a psych ward. And so she basically suppressed her power for decades. And she grew up, she got married, she had kids. She lives in a suburb now. She has a pet. She has the white fence. Like everything is just like the American dream. She's living it. She's, you know, living in the suburbs, and, you know, everything's great. It does take quite a bit out of her to suppress her psychic abilities. She does suffer from migraines. She does suffer from depression. She does have other things that, you know, she's dealing with because she is constantly trying to suppress her powers. And we kind of begin this book by her and her husband going to a Halloween party. And she hates going to this Halloween party because it is at her best friend and her husband's house. And her best friend's house is haunted. And she knows it. She hates going over there, especially at Halloween, because, you know, Halloween, when everything is creepy and everyone's dressed up and everything kind of has those vibes, you know, the ghosts really kind of come out and they really start creating mischief. And so to go to the haunted house during this time of year. She absolutely dreads it. And her only plan for this Halloween party is to go in, get drunk so she doesn't see or hear anything, and leave. And while she is at this Halloween party, a entity of some sort takes her best friend and drags her and locks her in one of the upstairs bedroom while the party is going on. And nobody can find her best friend. Her husband's frantically looking for her. All the party goers are frantically looking for her. Nobody can find her. And the ghost comes to this woman and says, I have her, and if you want her to live and if you want her to come back, then you're going to need to follow me. And so she ends up following the ghost up to the bedroom and going inside and finding her best friend, who happens to be possessed now, and basically is told by this possessed best friend that, you better knock this off. You need to start listening to us. You need to start looking at us. You need to start hearing what we have to say. And you need to stop suppressing your powers, because we've taken all we can take, and we're not going to take it anymore. So snap out of it, knock it off, or this is going to be, the least of the incidents that we're going to do to you. And so that is the beginning of the book, and it creates this whole slew of situations that she, as a medium now, because she can no longer suppress her powers, that she is having to deal with, mostly in this house. This house is haunted by ghosts. But the interesting thing is that these ghosts are not bad. They're not poltergeists. They're not harmful entities, but something is harming them. And they need her help to banish or to get rid of whatever it is that is harming the ghosts that are still on this plane. And it kind of is how Casey Freeman imagines those type of existential questions. What are ghosts? And how do people that are not alive, how do they deal with their life that they lived now that they're dead? And how do they think and feel, and is it the same as when they were alive, or is it different now that they're dead? And how do folklore and mysticism, and how do all these things kind of play into all of that? And while it is a humorous book at times, she is very witty, she has a very dry sense of humor, it is a very deep book. It's a book that will make you think, and it kind of draws you in, and it's really kind of a thought-provoking book. But it's very well-rounded, it's very well written, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a very good book for September, because it kind of had those spooky but witchy but very kind of otherworldly vibes to the book. I don't know that, again, this is going to be very personal preference. So I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to you if kind of a thought-provoking, spooky type of a book, as far as ghosts and life, death, those type of things. If that appeals to you, then I think that you would really enjoy this book. If you would rather have something that is not as thought-provoking, not as deep, just light, very on the surface, then maybe this isn't quite the book for you, if you want to keep it very surface level. Speaking of surface level, the next book is Pumpkin Spice Cafe for my September reads, and I picked it up and I read it. It is just as cute as you think it's gonna be. It is autumnal, cozy pumpkin spice latte, sit by the fire with leaves falling out your window book. It is that book. It is a woman who inherits a coffee shop. She has never owned a coffee shop, has no idea what she's doing, and tries to fit in and tries to figure out how to run this business, not knowing what the heck she's doing in this very small, cute little town. Apple orchard, farmer, tree dude, guy, mountain man, lumberjack snack, I don't know what you want to call him. He ends up in her orbit because he is bringing pumpkins to her one morning, and they meet and sparks fly, and he's grumpy, she's sunshine, and they end up, because of their proximity to each other, they end up falling in love. And it's a very cute, sweet romance. It does have a little bit of spice in it, not a lot, but it does have a little bit, which I think makes it even funner. And yeah, if you want a very sweet, very surface level, very cute, easy to read book for September or October, autumnal read, then this is a good one for you, and I do recommend that you pick it up. Next one is called Sweets and Sycamores by Erin Sterling. So this one I thought was very cute. And it's not one that I have heard a lot of people talk about, but I definitely would recommend it. And I definitely think you could do this in September, or I think you could do this in October. This is very witchy vibes. Not only is she a witch, but he is a warlock. And this takes place in a town that is no stranger to magic. Most of the people that live in this town is magic, and so it's a very very witchy vibe book, which fits right in. So this is about a witch. She has firepower, and she cannot control her power. She is she's kind of a danger to anywhere she stays and to herself because she can't control her fire. And so her coven tells her that she needs to, they basically banish her and say, you can't be here until you can control your power. So away with you, go figure out how to control your power. So she leaves and is traveling to a larger village, a larger town, in hopes that she can find somebody that will help her to control her magic. And on the way, somebody picks her up and says, I have a friend who owns a bakery, and he is looking for an assistant because he's getting too busy, his business is growing, and he needs an assistant. Do you know how to bake? And she lies and says, of course I know how to bake. I totally know how to bake, because number one, she's broke. Number two, she has nowhere to sleep. And number three, she has nothing but the clothes on her back. And so she lies and is taken to this large city where this bakery is, and is given a job as an assistant to this baker, who is actually a investigative warlock who is working undercover in this city to try and figure out why the magic barrier that is protecting this city is falling, and it has to do with earth magic that is imbued in the sycamore trees that are in this city. And so he is working undercover, trying to figure that out, and is kind of opened up this bakery. I guess these investigations can take months or years, and so he opens up this bakery as his undercover position. And anyway, so that is, she gets a job as his assistant. He teaches her how to bake, and anyway, they somehow come together. He figures out that she is a witch with firepower and says that he will help train her so that she can control her magic. And in return, she is going to try to help him figure out why this sycamore magic is failing. And so they end up working together. Great romance, super cute. There's a connection between her family magic and the Sycamores, and so that kind of ties in together with the book. And anyway, it's super cute. Again, Sweets and Sycamores, not one that a lot of people have heard of, but it is very cute. A very good read, very well written, definitely a lot of magic, definitely has those, you know, fall, witchy type vibes. So I definitely enjoyed this one, and I think it's worth your time to pick it up. Pumpkin Spice Spell, and this is by Erin Branscombe. Anyway, this one I also got as an ARC, and I absolutely adored this book. This was the first book that I read in September, and it gave me every single autumnal fall vibe that you could possibly want in a fall vibe book. Pumpkin lattes, coffee, scones, pumpkin festivals, apple cider festivals, pumpkin carving, jack-o'-lanterns, the whole town. It's like if the Good Witch TV show and practical magic and any autumnal festival came together and had a baby and it was written into a book, it would be this book. This book is so seasonally fall. It's out of this world. It's so cute. It is so utterly cute. So surprisingly, it's got witchy vibes, but there are no witches in this book. There's like no magic in this book whatsoever, but it's so magical. So this woman, she is the owner of the local coffee shop. She makes homemade scones, homemade coffee, homemade everything you could possibly think of, and everything is made with love and magic, even though she has no magic. It's just magical. Her mom, who also lives in town, lives in this kind of gothic looking manor right on the outskirts of this village, of this town, and she is just all of the cool witchy things, but she's not a witch. But she's very eclectic. She lives with cats. She knows everybody's business. She knows just the exact right thing to say at the exact right time. She's like the Good Witch, but she's not a witch. But was the Good Witch a witch? I don't know, but she was so magical. And so her mom is definitely that too. Then there's two sisters, and one of them is a tea. She makes tea, homemade tea. And of course, every tea elixir that she makes is guaranteed to cure any of your ailments. But she's not a witch, but everything she makes is magical. and she sells her tea inside of her sister's coffee shop. And I mean, come on, this is like the most fall book you have ever read. Anyway, okay, so years ago, this woman and her best friend, Tate, their fathers, this is a fishing village, okay? Let me just preface this by saying this is a fishing village. It's right on the ocean. And so these people, fishing is their livelihood, okay? The men folk go out, they catch the fish, and that's how this town runs, okay? It runs on fishing. Her dad was a fisherman. Her best friend Tate, his dad was a fisherman. Just like everybody else's dad is a fisherman, okay? This is just how it is. Well, years and years ago, both of their dads were out on a fishing trip and they were lost at sea. And of course, I mean, everybody's devastated, but her best friend Tate, just his grief was too much, and so he left. He left town to try and deal with his grief, to find himself, and because he couldn't deal with being in the town any longer. And so he left, and she was heartbroken and devastated. Well, it's years later now, and she's independent, she's successful, she has this coffee shop, and who comes back into town but Tate, her best friend? And is he looking mighty, mighty fine in flannel and jeans and so yummy scrummy. But she is not going to fall for that again. She has closed and walled up her heart to Tate, and nothing he says or does is going to open that up anymore. She is immune to him. Well, of course, everybody in the town is just all over these two, right? The gossip is rampant and matchmaking is going on like it is a sport. And everybody wants these two to get together because they're meant to be together. They're fated to be together. And so the shenanigans that happen in this town that are trying to get these two together it's hysterical. It's so funny. And these two, he realized, that she was, the one that got away, and he realized that she was meant to be his. And so he's back in town now because he needs to get his childhood home ready to sell. And so that is why he is back in town, supposedly, allegedly, to get this house, his childhood home, ready to sell. Well, in his mind, he's also there to get the one that got away. And, she's just having none of it. Well, the town is on his side, and they're just doing everything they can to get these two together. And yeah, the shenanigans run rampant in this book. And anyway, of course, I mean, this is a love story. It's romance. And so at the end, they do get together. But it is so funny and so magical and so fall. And so anything and everything that you could think about a Hallmark movie, a fall Hallmark movie, is in this book. It was written to be a Hallmark movie. Come on, Hallmark. Anyway, highly recommend this book. It was super cute. It was it was perfect for September. It would be perfect for October too if you were looking for a fall autumnal read instead of a spooky read. You could definitely do this book for October as well. So those were my September reads. Honestly, I think everything that I read for the most part was really good, and I would recommend that you pick them up either for next September, put them on your TBR, or go for it in November. There's nothing that says you can't read autumnal books in November, right? I mean, it's not really technically winter, right? December, January, February, isn't that winter? November still fits in fall, I think. So yeah, you've still got a whole nother month to read autumnal books. So I just gave you a whole list that you can grab and read. And so I have thoroughly enjoyed being back with you guys for book talk. I am super excited to be back with you in a couple of weeks when I am back from Salt Lake, and we will get into my October spooky reads, and I'll let you know what I thought about those as well. Until next time, bye.